My name is Judi Hill, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this initiative. When I first said yes, I didn't look at my calendar, so I'm sorry that I can't be there in person. I really feel bad about that. However, the mission is so important. What you're trying to do with today is so valuable. I was willing to get on camera, which I hate to do. I am a retired educator who works as the president of the Akron NAACP. I grew up in a little place called Oberlin, Ohio. And in Oberlin, it's a very small town, a college town, first to allow African Americans and women to go to college. My mother raised 7 children, and one thing she always made all of us do was go to church. She couldn't go because she was working, but she made sure we went. One of those older siblings would make us go. And from that, I always knew the Lord was in my life. I just didn't know how. And as I grew and went to school, I tried to maintain a good life with him, but I didn't always feel a presence. But it takes you to go through something to understand. There were several times in my life as I was going through college and getting married and divorced, I found out how good God can be. And it was in those quiet moments, those moments of pain, that I learned to really grow. One example, I have a sister. We planned our lives together. We have girls. They're a year and 2 days apart. But in the process, my sister became engaged with drugs and alcohol and developed a liver disease. And because of her drug use, she was not a candidate for a liver transplant. Not something I share often, because as a person who is a giver, I have always, I'm a donor. I believe in helping any way we can. But in this instance, she was in need. We could not donate to her. We could donate blood, but we weren't matches for an organ, obviously, liver. And subsequently she passed away. In that time, His mercy and His grace prevailed. Because before then, I also went through a divorce, and God allowed me to raise the 2 girls, my daughter and my niece, together for 2 years. And it was such a blessing. It was a blessing. I love watching people grow and develop, and to see my sister in her was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. When I went through my divorce, I clearly remember that is when I gave my life to Christ. My husband and I had bought a big house, 8 acres in Portage County. That's my first husband. And it was a wonderful place. We were going to raise our kids and have a kind of a great big old garden. We ended up divorcing. But in the midst of that, for a person like me who feels that life is about successes, that was a failure. And I struggled with that personal failure. And it was in the midst of that storm. One day, I asked the Lord, you help me through this. Show me how to overcome, and I'll serve you. I'll serve you better. And it was through that I went to a women's conference. As I was going through this divorce process, I said, I don't think I should go. I'm not feeling it. And I went to this women's conference in Michigan with some dear friends. It was there I saw women of faith supporting one another, strengthening one another, And some of the sessions that I did attend helped me to see it wasn't about what God does in the world, it's what he does for me. And that's when I understood the personal relationship that's needed in order to grow. And so I came back, and of course I survived the divorce, yay. And I realized there were a lot of missteps. But again, we were able to persevere. And so because of that, my daughter and I and my niece, we continued to live and to grow. And when I moved to Akron, I joined a wonderful church with a real pastor, a real teacher, who didn't just talk the talk, but he walked the walk. I started attending Arlington Church of God. I met Dr. Ronald J. Fowler. He was not only a good teacher and mentor as an educator, he was also on the school board. And so I got to see him professionally, personally, and spiritually. We took a couple trips together, and I do have a potty mouth at times. I'm still working on it. But we took a couple trips together as we were investigating some new educational initiatives. And on this one trip, we were talking, and I was excited about what we saw, and before I knew it, I said a bad word. I said, oh shit, or something like that. And he was like, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Pastor Fowler, I didn't mean to disrespect you. He's like, oh, co-laborer, you're caught up in the moment, and I'd rather have you real with me than to be anyone else. How awesome, how awesome. Through people like him, I've learned to interact with others where we are and take that and help us to grow and be better. I'm still working on that for myself. There's so many times that I, being the human, stupid person that I am, who likes to have fun, sometimes it's way too much, how he has kept me in ways that I'm like, wow, how did I get out of that situation? How did I get away from those people? But he kept putting the right people in my path. And I hope today we are putting the right people in paths to help. Because if we can't do that, what good are we? And so my prayer for today is that women will let down their guard, set aside family for a moment, set aside friends, boyfriends, husbands, career, work, and just allow him to talk to them. And that's hard for us as women, because our job is to take care of everybody else. Our job is to make sure that everything works for everyone else. That's what we do. But just for today, how wonderful. That's the only reason I'm doing this video, by the way. I want you to know that. I really do. Is that we can just be for us. That's hard for us. It's very hard. But it's a challenge for a few hours to let him speak to us. Our church, we sing this song, Speak to My Heart, Lord. Allow him to speak so we can hear. That's the only way we know the next steps. I don't ever want anyone to think life is easy. It isn't. It's not supposed to be. We were born in sin. But he also gives us so many gifts and strengths. And if we use our gifts and our strengths, we can use those to overcome the obstacles that we're going to face. I'm somebody who is that typical strong black woman. It took me a long time to realize I am not in control. Every now and then I still go back and think I'm in control, but I'm not. Truly am not. But allowing him to lead is so awesome. It's scary. In the midst of the storm, I have to step back and say, oops, not in control. And then he'll just take it from there and make it work. So it's just interesting to be at this stage of my life, and to understand how everything I do now is because of him, not because of me. I have a message on my phone that I believe Pastor Fowler preached just recently. He's retired, but he preached at our church, and it says, when my journey is defined by what God says, not by how I feel, God can truly use me.